I know what you did. You went to the garden center and you fell in love with a lemon tree. And while you were there, you bought a bag of potting soil and you came home and you potted it up. And then a little time goes by and you're wondering, why isn't my lemon tree thriving? Because you planted it in the wrong thing. Lemon trees don't like to be in potting soil because it isn't aerated enough. There isn't enough space between particles for the air to get to the roots that it needs. Also, potting soil is set at a pH level of 7, whereas lemon trees like a pH level of 6. 5.5 to 6.5, that's the sweet spot for a range. So that's another reason why you have to create your own potting mix. You can certainly buy some that's pre-made, but I like to make my own. So the other thing is that you want to be able to have an inorganic environment. So we don't want anything organic. And when I say organic, I mean like dirt and things like that. It's going to be a soilless medium that we're making. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this method. It's 5-1-1, and it's going to be 5 parts pine bark mulch, 1 part coco coir, and 1 part perlite. And that will set the medium to a level that the lemon tree is really going to thrive and love. We're also going to add some other amendments to it as well, such as in the coco coir, I've already added some worm castings, and then we're also going to add fertilizer based on a fertilizer mix, an organic fertilizer mix that I bought. So let's get mixing. Now you can see I have a pretty big pot here, so I'm going to double up. Let's try it this way. This is kind of big. Let's see how much we get with 1 round. So this is 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. This bag is almost empty, so I'm going to take it all out. And then we'll adjust from there. 6. 'So it's about 6.5. Now, I'm going to come over here. And I have my 1 part coco coir that I'm going to put in. And I'm going to do a little bit extra. Since we have like 6.5, I'll do 1.5 of the coco coir, just to kind of balance it out a little bit. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the perlite. Now, if you have perlite that's super fine, just be careful of the dust, because you don't want to breathe in any of that dust. There we go. And just a little bit more. All right. Now, I'm not affiliated with any of these brands that I'm utilizing, but I happen to buy this bumper crop citrus and fruit tree. And it basically states that beginning in February through the end of the growing season, you want to fertilize monthly. And it depends on the diameter of your pot. So it's 3 tablespoons for every 8 inches of diameter. So this pot happens to be 15 inches in diameter. So I'm going to assume 16, that way it's easier to divide, and I'm going to put in 6 tablespoons of the fertilizer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So now we're going to get our hands dirty. This is the fun part, right? Everyone likes doing this part. So you can see, just like, see how big and crumbly it is? Imagine if you had a pot filled with some gravel and another pot filled with sand. Which medium would the water go through more easily? It would be the one that has gravel, because there's more space between the particles that are in the pot. And that's what the environment that we're trying to create now. We're trying to create that environment. So now, let's fill up our pot. Okay. So I think I really want you to see this. You see, it's very large particles, so you could tell a lot of air and water will be able to get through there without retaining a lot of moisture. Okay. Now here's a lemon tree, and I've already kind of loosened it so that, you know, we'll be able to pull it out pretty easily. And I'm going to plant it in here. And I'm going to top it off with some of our medium. Now, because the pine bark is going to break down over time, and so when that happens, you can top it off with the same mixture, and that's how it's going to, you know, fertilize and keep it healthy as well. So let's see what happened over here. So this plant was sitting in potting soil. Oh, let me pick it up. It was sitting in potting soil, and when I put my hand in there, it's very wet, and the plant doesn't like that. It doesn't like that at all. So we're going to move that out of the way. So another thing that I do is that in the wintertime, because I live in zone 6B, I can't keep my tree out all winter long because it'll die. It's really only in zones 9 and above that really can keep their trees out all year long. So in the wintertime, I have one of those tents, grow tents, that has a metallic reflective material inside, and I have a grow light, and I keep it in there, and then I check on it, and you can see it's doing really well because it has lemons all over it. So that's really exciting too. And so I'm fully expecting to get a lot of lemons this summer. And this formula isn't just for lemon trees; it's for all citrus trees, because they're all in the same family and they all have the same requirements. So I hope this was helpful, and take a look at your lemon tree and make sure that you have the right medium that it's sitting in. Now, another thing is, we put in that fertilizer. That's a granular organic fertilizer. It's going to take time for it to break down. So in the meantime, I have this liquid lemon tree fertilizer, and this also has in it iron, and iron is something that the lemon tree needs. And with the deficiency of iron, you may see the leaves start to yellow. So the way we water it is, we want to water it until the water drains out of the bottom of the pot. And then once the water drains out of the bottom of the pot, then you know you have done your job. And I'm waiting for it. Let's check it, because I do have it in a little cup here. Sorry, manhandling everything that's super heavy. And so I had already put the liquid fertilizer in here. Kind of get in the middle there too. That should do it. No, still. I'm going to wait a few minutes to see if it drains. And so this is important too, because these roots really want to gain access to air, and also it allows any gases that are building up in the root layer to also come out and escape, so they don't get trapped in the soil. And we don't want that to happen either. Something like carbon dioxide and things like that from its natural photosynthesis process. Still needs a little bit more water. And it's probably needing a lot more than it probably will in subsequent waterings, because all of this material that's in here is very dry, so it hasn't absorbed any water. So you can imagine that in subsequent waterings, there's still going to be some moisture in there, and it probably won't take as much water. And so you want to test it. Take your finger and you put it all the way in. And if it feels dry, it's time to water. So that's what you want to do, and that's what you want to test. So that's how we take care of our lemon trees. So we'll see you next time.